at part of the 2013 launch. So, let's see. Are any of you familiar with Improv Everywhere in this group in New York? I've been doing for a number of years. Of course, their most famous, which is the No Pants Subway Ride. And every year they gather, about more than 10 years now, and they actually have a subway ride throughout New York City, and people wear various pants. And there's a video here. You're welcome to I'll put this online. You'll be able to go and check and see it out. But they also do a number of other. These are just major events where people come, like flash mobs. This is the Black Tie Beach. Yes, so it's Atlantic City. Everybody dressed in black tie formal wear, charging into the beach at the same time. Delightful, and they do a number of other things. And this is the one I thought very creative, exceptional for like many of you are doing events or things. So this was called Rob Wants to Give You a High Five. And so here's Rob. It's a great piece of improv. And really sort of have a dramatic effect if you do an event. The progenitor of all of this, so where did all of this stuff come from? In the 1930s, there was the WPA, which was a government-funded project as part of the Reconstruction after the Depression was, and invested in arts. And so a woman named Viola Spolin and her partner, MiiA, set up training to train kids in the inner city, and they discovered something very interesting, which I hope it's here. I wanted to share with you. This professor explains it a little better than I can.
This is the godmother of modern improvisation, Viola Spolin. Which way is south? That way? 55 blocks south of here is where modern improvisation began. In the 1930s, with this woman and her partner, MiiA Boyd. They started children's theater workshops down by Hyde Park on the south side. And it was Viola Spolin who recognized that something remarkable was happening in the playing of games. She saw how these kids who could not get along on the street, who could not communicate, who could not connect with one another, who could not find the means to see the worth of one another as individuals, would all of a sudden get it together around the playing of games.
Games. And so kids who cannot get together on the outside, who cannot find a way to relate, can find a way not only to relate to each other, but learn a craft of theater through the playing of games. Anybody else know groups of people who can't get along together? Have you ever sat in a group? Creative, yes, working out the content for a website perhaps, or yes. And so there are perhaps, can't get along. And so there are, in fact, ways of breaking through that. And some of you know about the creative whack pack and the idea of utilizing sort of the back and forth game. But gaming itself can be the key to breaking through your inhibitions. It can be the key to finding new, for your brand new directions. And there are a couple of key rules. So here's, those of you who are coming to take notes, this would be the notes part. There are some rules in coaching that Viola Spolin started and used, and her and her son Paul Sills, who did the teaching over the years, honed. And some of them make a lot of sense. If you work in a group or you work in a team, this would work for creative as well as for just regular old meetings, I think. Say yes and, which means don't say no, don't judge, but say yes and in response to something. And then add some new information to that. So constantly evolve. It's part of the creative process. Don't block. Don't stop somebody from doing what they attempt to do. In an improvisational situation, you want the scene to continue. You want to avoid questions if at all possible. Questions stop. These get people into their heads, and in the creative process, if you've ever been at a writer's block, a lot of questions come up. That's a focus outward. No eyes or egos in this process. When you take that out of the creative development process, you get a much better product. I think here's a key: make your partner look good. the key to any improvisation, and as you see these folks trying to work with each other rather than against each other. If you can get that in your creative group or in your writing, it's exceptional. In college, when we were trying to work on our partnering skills and our support skills, we would practice playing ping pong blindfolded. You really have to work together to get those balls to go past each other. Stay in contact with each other, not losing touch, not going off into your own problems, working on one problem, working on the problem, the focus on the point of the meeting or the part of your creative breakthrough. Avoiding making lists, which is human beings love that. We love category. We love a category as much as we love a list. Making lists. Show, don't tell. Right? Instead of telling, make sure that you're showing, which I'm going to do more of instead of telling here, and then let it happen. Not planning or inventing, not forcing. Creativity can't be forced. You cannot engineer viral. It is partly organic, partly engineered, and partly can be released if you adhere to the rules of the game. And so I'm here to tell you there are companies that have done that, who create content, more content than you can imagine on a regular basis. Second City, Groundlings, Comedy Sports, IO West, and then Upright Citizens Brigade, fairly newer, Theater Asylum. There's a lot of these around, and if you have an inclination that perhaps you might want to learn, it can help in a lot of different situations. I once sent a sales, we were talking earlier, had a sales guy who was a very good technician, knew a lot about the technology, could share the technology, but really couldn't relate to the people. So he took 6 weeks of improv and became a different person entirely. I think maybe it was a little dangerous, really. So I wanted to introduce